Hi, and welcome to the Crit Hit Wild podcast, where we cover all things Marvel Crisis Protocol, and we do a new character every week. This week, we're going to be talking about Lady Mastermind, and I'm your host, Fred.
I'm Brad.
I'm Steven.
Hi, I'm Chance.
And oh, Dad got it. I'm sorry. And we've got a guest today. Hey, Chance, how are you doing today? How are you feeling?
I'm doing pretty good.
That's good to hear. Chance participated in the first Appalachian Cup, and we brought him on today to talk about his experience and to help us give some thoughts on Lady Mastermind. Uh, Before we do anything else, Brad, how are you doing?
I'm doing just fine, Fred.
How about you, Steven?
It's hot in South Carolina.
Yeah, yeah. It's only gonna get worse there, but
I
I
know.
think
I know.
in the next few months you're gonna really go through the ringer.
Well, I'm heading home next weekend, so I'll get a little relief. So,
Okay, okay, well that's good. I myself am quite exhausted. This has been a long week and a particularly long weekend, but it was full of a lot of fun, specifically the App Cup tournament. And before we start talking about that, I think that I should talk about the upcoming tournaments that are coming for the rest of the month. Coming up on June the 21st, there is a tournament at Lost Legion Games and Comics in South Charleston, West Virginia. That is our local game store, mine and Brad's and Brandon's. And this is just going to be one of our local tournaments. It is not official in any way. It's just going to be a fun play some games tournament. We are always happy to see as many people as we can there, but we're not expecting a high turnout. Then coming up on June the 28th at Fabricators Forge in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, is a team tournament run by Bryce. This is going to be interesting. Brad, do you happen to know the details of how the team tournament is going to work?
You form a team of three people and you play MCP against each other. Best two out of three wins the round.
Is that how? Wait, is that how it works?
Yeah.
Okay, I
but
misunderstood then.
What did you think it
uh,
was, Fred?
I don't know. I don't know.
but I believe across all three teams, Fred, you can only have one of a character. So three of your
Yeah.
teams cannot have Beta Ray Bill.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, there
Right.
are character
Okay.
restrictions. I think Bryce is only doing character restrictions, I think.
Not team tactics card restrictions.
Or crisis restrictions.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's good. Okay. Well, that is how that is coming up on the 28th of June. Then in July, I want to call this out. There is a tournament on July the 19th at Lost Legion Games and Comics in South Charleston, West Virginia. That is going to be the next in the Appalachian Cup qualifying events. So this one's going to be a big one, hopefully. I always enjoy big tournaments at my local store. I will almost certainly be there, as will Brad. And I really want to blow this one up. Let's have some fun. I'm looking forward to it. All right. So those were the upcoming tournaments that I wanted to call out. Let's talk about this past weekend's Appalachian Cup Qualifier. It happened at Fabricators Forge and was run by Bryce. Bryce always runs a great event. I'm really happy with the way that this ran. And big shout out to Savage. He paid for lunch for everybody. That was very cool. That's really cool of him to do, and I deeply appreciated it. It was also going to be a long day, so that let us do a kind of lack of a lunch break to speed up the ending of the event. All right, I think that I will begin talking about my game first. My first opponent was Dean. Dean, I have played against him in the past. I actually played against him at Second Wind. He's a great opponent. I like playing against him. He was playing an Avengers list, and it was based. His leader was Steve 1, and he also had Sam in his list, I think for a flex. But we were playing on Hammers and Cosmic Invasion, and the threat value was 18. So I played Amazing Spider-Man, Miles Morales, Agent Venom. Oh boy, Moon Knight, and I think one more four, who I am blanking on. It was probably Spider-Woman. And Dean played both Steve Rogers and Sam Wilson. He played Hulk, which was a big. Oh, I actually remember. I was wrong. It's not. I had Black Cat in my list, which means that I had another 3 somewhere. Oh well. It's not important. He had a Hulk, who I was able to stagger almost every turn. He had Iron Man, and that's going to be relevant at the end of this, at the end of me discussing this. This game started off pretty well for me. I ended up taking 2 of the hammers and putting people on all 3 of the points that I had available to me. I know that Agent Venom grabbed a hammer and Amazing Spider-Man grabbed a hammer. And he threw both Steve and Sam onto my left point to try and threaten it. And Moon Knight was able to hop up, and with some lucky rolls, I was able to do, I think, 4 damage to Steve Rogers with some throwing crescents. So I got real lucky on that one and started him off pretty harmed at the end of round 1. Round 2, my first action was to stagger Hulk. And like I said earlier, I will stagger him every round for the rest of the game with Black Cat. Black Cat just hugged Hulk the entire game and otherwise didn't do. I mean, she was contesting the point on the right, but otherwise didn't do a whole lot because Hulk was trying to get hammers. He was going after people who had hammers, and I feel like I managed Hulk as best as I possibly could. He still ended up doing a lot of damage to me, but that's not the thing that really killed me in this game. Round 2 went all right. I think that I am 1 point ahead of Dean. And then round 3 also went all right, and I stay exactly 1 point ahead. We're just pounding each other, and where I lose a point, I pick up a point someplace else. But then the really relevant thing that occurred in this game is in round 4, I activate Miles Morales and have him run away from Hulk. That activation should have been me activating Agent Venom and KOing both Sam and Steve Rogers, which he almost certainly could have done. He had a lot of power on him, and he had a hammer. Why that's relevant is I activate Miles and run Miles to a back point where he's away from Hulk. Dean activates Iron Man, and he then Helios lasers Agent Venom before I can activate him. And Agent Venom's rolling 2 defense dice against what I think was 24 dice. And I get absolutely annihilated. And this is the turn where I lose the game. I lose the game right then because I'm not able to pick up any extra points. I'm not able to knock out both Steve and Sam. And I lose the game. No question. This game ended, I believe it's 17-14. And it was a great game. I really appreciate Dean as an opponent. That is the end of my first round. All right. Brad and Chance, why don't the 2 of you talk about your first round?
You can go ahead, Chance.
Okay. Yeah. So first round, I paired into Brad. It's important to know that I'm playing Wakanda with M'Baku leadership, my main goal is to kill things. That's the idea I've got going in here. And my first round, I match into Apocalypse, which I hate. It's my least favorite matchup. It's not that it's bad for Wakanda. It's just I haven't quite figured it out yet. For our first game, we rolled Macran Legacy Virus, which was pretty nice. And I brought, who did I have? King T, M'Baku, Okoye, Luke Cage, and Mighty Thor.
That's correct.
That is correct. Okay, yeah. So most of it ended up being played, as far as my understanding of Wakanda is, by the books. Luke Cage goes to the midline to grab one of the far right Legacy Virus. I put him there because he can probably survive a turn if Apocalypse hits him once or twice. And if he wants to do that, King T gets his power to bound anywhere. And I had Mighty Thor on the other flank, hoping to clean that up. There was a few lucky turning points that definitely managed to swing it. Round one, I want to say I went down a couple points, but that's I retained.
It was 5-2.
5-2, but I retained priority there. And importantly, round one, Toad went to range 2 of the Central Extract to pick it up. And the last activation I had, King T walked up and threw a Spirit Hymn and managed to one-shot him from full with exact damage, meaning the nerf mattered. Eat it, Toad. But it definitely helped. Flipping Toad early always feels great. The other thing that I would say I felt very good about swinging in my favor is round 2. I managed to daze Psylocke with Mighty Thor on the left flank. That did that before she managed to do anything, grabbing me an extract, and now Psylocke has to fight Jane for it. And if he chose to go first with her, he's sacrificing going first in the big brawl that was happening on the other flank. From there, it was more so just playing standard Wakanda, keeping people in the reroll bubble, making sure that King T's never exposed, and with a decent serving of failed Macran rolls by Brad, the game just kind of developed into a way where it was very tough for him to pull it back towards the end.
Yeah, I only remember making one.
I want to say there was 5 back-to-back 50-50s that failed.
Yeah, and I only remember making one because Chance said, you were due that, and then I never made another one, I think. So, awesome.
Man.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was, I had people there to potentially flip them back if I needed to. I just never needed to try.
No, they just, if he had a person.
The other turn, the other thing that mattered is I managed to take one of Apocalypse activation away from him with Wakanda Forever turn, which made me feel pretty good about the game when that happened.
Yeah, he was attritioning me pretty hard. I was trying to go for scenario, and the scenario god said no. And so,
I mean, that happens sometimes. Yeah. I feel like that happened to Savage in his first round too. I think that Savage lost his first round 16-1. Which is really devastating, and it's purely because he could not flip any points.
Yeah. The scores for the rounds were 5-2, and then I went up. It was 9-4, and then I was trying to leverage that lead, but then this is when things start going real bad. So I went up to 11, and Chance went up to 9, and then Chance scored 7, and I scored 0. On the last round.
Yeah, that was the round where everything went wrong.
Yeah.
Psylocke dazed without getting an activation. I think APOC dazed without getting an activation.
Yeah. It was real rough. And then I couldn't make any 50-50s. And, yep, it was just bad. That was our round 1.
Okay. All right. So round 1... started off with the West Virginia boys doing quite poorly. I feel like that's not true.
Brad
JP,
and Fred, Brad and Fred and Borka did bad. JP, Brandon won.
Yeah, other Brandon.
Other Brandon. Yeah, and did Tony win
Tony.
his? Yeah, Tony won
He did.
his.
Tony won his first round. Yeah,
So the Princeton guys did great.
that's true. Uh, all right, moving on to round two. Um, my first matchup was against a gentleman named Rich, who was playing Apocalypse, which is a terrible matchup for or for Web Warriors. We have a lot of trouble dealing with that matchup. I've been playing against Brad for a while, for months, trying to figure out how to win. I have come very close, but I don't think I've ever beaten Brad in that matchup. Uh,
But Fred,
wh-
you said your solution already to winning against Apocalypse.
what did I say? What was my
Spider
solution?
Spider
Oh,
Foes.
Spider Foes. Yeah. Spider Foes is the well. I'm not playing Spider Foes right now, so that's not quite the option that I have. Uh, so I'm playing against an Apocalypse player, and his list is very different than Brad's. So that's starting off already. I don't have a whole lot of experience against what he's bringing. We were playing at 17 threat, and it was Senators and Riot Spark. So it's a D and then 6 guys in the middle. Uh, I decide to go, and we're playing at 17 threat. So at 17 threat, I'm playing Amazing Spider-Man, Miles, Moon Knight, uh, Black Cat, and then I have Mysterio in there to be kind of an interesting flex to try and give me some variability. Uh, Mysterio did well in this game, I should say. Like Mysterio was actually quite valuable near the end, and with the Grand Illusion Tactics card. But this game went very poorly for me. My opponent, Rich, used Beast. What he brought was Apocalypse, Toad, Beast, Magic, Blob. Is that 5? Apocalypse, Toad, Beast, Magic, Blob. Yes. So he was as wide as me, which I'm not expecting whenever I'm going into Apocalypse, and it really gave him the edge. Uh, I try to kill Toad in round 1. I do him 3 damage instead of the 4 that I need to do, and Toad runs away, and I'd never see him again. He's gone. He's off. He's out of range for anything that I've got. Uh, my opponent uses Beast. He's able to get 3 of my characters poisoned or rooted, and then the next round he starts and is able to do it again and put a second condition on each one of the characters that he just affected. I'm starting off real bad, and it doesn't get any better after that. Apocalypse is really hard for me to deal with. I'm not there yet, I don't think. So I end up losing this game 18-12. I think that Mysterio was kind of my MVP of this game, but otherwise, Amazing Spider-Man had a few key swings that kept me from being completely shut out, but I just could not win against Apocalypse. Rich, super nice guy. I liked playing against him. He apparently he brought his son's team because his son plays Apocalypse, and according to him, his son is much better at playing Apocalypse than he is. But he did.
So
Oh,
I actually they're local to my area. I've started
okay.
sparring his son for APOC matches just to get practice into it, and I have yet to pull a game off him. The dude is crazy
Yeah.
good.
Well, that sounds very ominous for when I go up to the Akron Brew Brawl. So yeah, not looking forward to being against another excellent Apocalypse player. Okay, well that's my second round. I'm now 0 for 2. Uh, Chance, why don't you talk about your second round?
Yeah, so my second round is against Les. He's playing Guardians of the Galaxy. And I I have priority into this one. I lucked out and I had priority into every one of my matches this game, which felt awesome. But I may have made a misplay when I identified his secures. I looked at his extracts. I didn't see anything wrong with them, and we drew mutant extremis senators and then my intrusions. So there are 9 points on the board, and he picks the 19 threat, 19 threat is what we have to play, and he shows with 6 models to my. I believe I have 5. Is it 5 or did I have 4? King T, Mighty Thor, M'Baku, that's 14. Gambit Okoye. I had 5 to his 6. And through just some aggressive model placement, he has a lot of the Senators turn 1. He scores opening, it's 7-2 in his favor. I did get a little bit of chip damage done early on. So I was sweating going into round 2 a little bit because games with that many points on the board can quickly get out of control, especially if your goal is to win by attrition. Luckily, at the top of the round, Mighty Thor had an okay amount of power, and I noticed a nice clump of Guardians. So I managed to use her spender to blast Ronan, which ended up dazing him. And then I dazed Rocket, who had taken a damage to Gambit's enhanced agility earlier in the previous round, and also Yondu dazed, who had taken damage to Gambit because he came up to the midline, and that felt incredible. Then Ronan does his thing where he walks forward and he slaps me, and he takes 5 HP away from Jane, and she was judged, so she didn't get any power from it. And then I had her go into someone else and just try and get. I think I tossed it into Groot just to try and whittle him down a bit. But that spender right there pretty much turned the entire game around for me. It went from something that I was pretty scared about to something I was feeling quite comfortable with. The rest of the table isn't super important. M'Baku and Star-Lord are on the left-hand side for a little bit, dirtling with Senators, neither one of them doing very much to each other. There's a huge fight in the middle. I also managed to daze Drax that round with King T'Challa, and Gambit. I love new Gambit. I have to say he is so good. I'm having a blast with him. His bow staff trigger is before damage, so even if you daze them with his obscene spikes, he still gets to displace them. So I was fearing the Rocket and Groot tactics card turn on Rocket waking up because I had given him priority, but bow staff let me separate the 2 of them so that one of them would have to walk on that turn, and it ended up making it more manageable. And the fact that it was before damage meant that it was basically guaranteed. I don't know the exact number on it, but it's a really high likelihood that Gambit gets to push you if he has a power on bow staff. Separating that meant that his first activation had to be Groot to walk him back into range so that Rocket could do it without wasting actions moving. And I managed to weather it. It was pretty good, even though he had a huge Big Dumb Heroes turn where he got to pay for it on 4 separate people.
Man.
Yeah. Oh, it was scary going into that turn. Luckily, Jane was on 2 HP that whole round, and I think she bounced like six attacks. She just wouldn't go down, and I managed to capitalize on that with King T and Okoye going around and cleaning up the rest of it. And I think going into round 3 and 4, I think it was going into round 4. He only had a couple of models left, and I managed to pick it off. Towards the end, when we finally scored out, he just had Star-Lord left, and my entire team was up, and only I think Gambit had flipped and Okoye had flipped. Mighty Thor did finally go down at like 3, and she flipped over, but it was a bloodbath. But once that round had flipped, and I weathered the Big Dumb Heroes turn with Groot and Rocket's card, I felt a lot better about it. But there is a bit there that I was sweating it for a moment.
Okay. So you were playing both Gambit and Mighty Thor in your Wakanda list.
Yes.
Are those like regular splashes that you throw in there?
They are now. I recently started looking into the Wakanda Discord on the big Marvel server, and they're a super welcoming bunch. And there's a lot of people in there recommending things. One of the veteran Rokana players was recommended Gambit, so I tried him for a couple of games, and the way he interacts with M'Baku's leadership and just the way New Gambit works now is very nice. So with the leadership timing, the worst, like if you roll a single hit, you can use Gambit to convert it to a wild, and then use M'Baku leadership to turn another dice to a hit, and that counts as 3 successes. So for rolling one hit, and having 1 power, it translates an attack to 3 successes minimum. And if you happen to roll a wild, you change one of the blanks to a hit, and then spend a power to turn that to a wild, and that's 4 successes.
Wow.
Yeah,
Nice.
and those are the
Okay.
those are the bare minimums if he doesn't roll any better, and he sometimes does. And then his spender, I didn't get a chance to use it in the game that I played him. I think this is the only one where I put Gambit down. But his spender is a 3-cost beam 4-5 dice, and then he's got that whole double wilds counting thing, and he will randomly just, because Kinetic Ace is a builder, he'll randomly spike into a billion power and just throw 2 4-die beams. He's just so good. I'm not a good dice math person, but I've heard plenty of people saying that the double wilds thing is better than you think, and it works on dodges and defense as well. So randomly, you will just spike into taking no damage.
Right. I've played a lot of Doc Ock, and I'll tell you, the double wilds, even just on attacks, is pretty nice. It's pretty effective.
It's awesome.
Yeah, but you two don't want to see MODOK 1, that's for sure.
That is true. I don't want to see that guy. And then Jane, Mighty Thor I think she's in every single one of my games. She victimizes a lot of the current meta. People love bringing size 4 models, and she loves seeing them. And her profile is just crazy. So she's, for a 5 threat, instead of being 7 health, she's 8/6. So she's got that bigger healthy side to help her out. Her builder is just a range 3 pre-nerf Thanos builder, which is insane to think about. And then her charge lets you reroll 2 dice on it.
Yeah.
And then she has a size 4 terrain throw for 3 and some decent defensive tech. And like I said, her spender is nuts. So all of that combined, plus mine was rolling particularly hot a lot of the day. I did not miss many throw triggers.
Okay. Well, it sounds like you had a very good second round. Against one heck of a good opponent too.
Oh, Les is great. He is very good, very on the ball, and yeah, like I said, that was the round I was most concerned that I would lose, if any.
Okay, all right. So let's move on to Brad's round 2.
Okay.
Hey, Brad. What did your round 2 go like?
Before I do my round 2, since we're talking about Gambit and Doc Ock a little bit, I just want to talk about Brandon and JP's list, which were almost identical. They had 1 model difference. They were playing Gambit, New Gambit, and Doc Ock in First Avenger with a smattering of Avengers to make points work. And their whole goal was to play Doc Ock and Gambit as much as possible to leverage First Avengers leadership in a similar way to what Chance did with Gambit. And they both won their rounds this round, round 2. Tony lost his, but he had to play JP. And then Borka also won. And then I played a guy named Jason, who was playing a Guardians list. And it sounds like I had a somewhat similar experience to Chance, because he was playing Ronin, Jason was. And so all my guys ended up being judgmented. We played 19 threat on Inhumans Deploy, Advanced Weaponry, and Intrusions. And boy, do I love Intrusions. So the first round I put Psylocke in the middle, and I had kind of roughly pre-measured to one of the side inhuman weaponries and looked like I could get there. So I left her there. And then I end up moving her to the other side's one and was like way short and felt real bad. So she was just out in the middle of nowhere doing nothing. And I got punished for it. So Nova moves up. He's playing Nova, Ronan, Star-Lord, Gamora, Iron Man. 3-point Iron Man. That's his list. I am playing Apocalypse, Psylocke, Colossus, and Cable at 19. So Nova moves up. He does 3 damage to her and pushes her, and he did his weird hit and run where he teleports to, gets on the point and picks up inhuman weapon. Awful. Luckily, Cable does a similar thing and moves and teleports, shoots Nova and picks up an inhuman weapon. Apocalypse ends up this round just moving up to the midline on the other side. That's one flank. That's one intrusion flank. The other flank, Apocalypse moves up. He stands on the point. He picks up one of the inhuman weapons. That's all he does. And Colossus just moves to the middle. He moves Ronan up to the middle. I think he ends up moving up and shooting Colossus with Star-Lord. And then Iron Man does nothing this first round. And then Gamora, he, instead of double walking her onto the point and then picking up the inhuman weapon, which is what I fully expected him to do, he moved up, he attacked Apocalypse, and then he threw her into Apocalypse. But with the angle he was at, he couldn't get her on the point with the throw. And he couldn't get close enough to the inhuman weapon that Apocalypse was standing on to pick up the inhuman weapon either. And he may not have had a power left either. So that inhuman weapon just sits there. We tie two of the intrusions, and then I win the other one with Apocalypse. And then I've got 2 intrusions. So I go up 3-1. Very low scoring first round. In the second round, I go with Cable. He leaves Nova at 1 health, which I was super worried about. But my opponent runs Nova away. He moves along. He then pays for the hit and run and a spender on Colossus, who takes 3 damage. That's the only damage he's taken so far and will take, I think, the whole game. Colossus is a boss. And so he ends up placing next to Colossus and then teleporting to behind a building. So, and he's already gone. So I just ignore him. I daze Gamora with Apocalypse, and I think maybe hit somebody else. It was a really good Apocalypse turn. And then he goes with Ronan or something. And Colossus then... and then Colossus double attacks Ronan. The second one, I think, is a spender and throws him into Iron Man. Pushes him so that he could throw him into Iron Man, and then throws him into Iron Man. And then teleports over by Apocalypse so that he can't attack Colossus anymore. And the rest of the game is him throwing attacks into into Apocalypse, and eventually dazing him the last turn of the game. Cable throwing some range 5 shots into his people in the middle of the board. And the play I'm most proud of is Psylocke at the end of turn 2 just moves on to the same intrusion as Cable. At the start of turn 3, Nova's still at 1 health. I teleport her to the middle point. I move short. One shot Nova, doing the 1 extra damage. Pick up his point. Teleport 2 to the other side of him. And then medium move. And she's like way in his back line, away from everybody. And she sits there the rest of the game scoring me points.
Nice.
There was one point, there was just a weapon sitting there, and he's like, aren't you going to go pick that up? And I go, I can't. Everyone I have left has one. And he goes, oh. So I score 3 to 4 inhuman weapons every turn. I score the outside intrusions. He scores an intrusion like once, and then that middle point. At the end of the game, he's got Iron Man, and everyone's out of range of Iron Man, who's standing on that middle point. And because Apocalypse has fallen at this point, and there's an intrusion laying there, and I'm like, and he's like, well, that's it. And I'm like, well, at least pick up the intrusion. He goes, Iron Man doesn't have any power. And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. Because he can't, if he has a power, he can go pick it up and get it. But he can't, like, move, make an attack to get the power, pick it up, and be up any points. Like, because he has to move off the point to get the weapon. So he's just stuck there making 1 point no matter what. So this game ends up 19 to 5. Like,
wow.
Dice were like completely average this game on both of our sides. So Apocalypse just got to shine. Like, he kept the number of times he rolled 5 dice, got 3 successes, and Apocalypse rolled 4 dice and got 2 defense. For the benefit of me gaining a power and him gaining a power and nothing else. It happened just over and over and over again. It was just so completely average. So
wow.
And
so you get to play Apocalypse on his favorite crisis in the game, and everything just sort of
falls in
benefited.
Place. Yeah.
Yeah,
it was. And he was like, that was pretty brutal. I was like, that's probably one of the best Apocalypse has ever worked for me. That just, the game just fell in place. So.
Well, I'm glad that happened for you today, Brad.
Colossus was an absolute boss pushing Ronan around all game. Ronan never made 2 attacks. He had to move and attack every time he activated. That wild push is so good.
Yep. I'm really high on New Colossus. He seems so cool.
He is. He's so great.
They really fixed him. And he didn't need fixing. He was a good model, but they've like made him Brad has said that they've made him feel like Colossus should feel.
Yeah, I totally stole that from other people, but they're right.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on to round 3. So my round 3 opponent was a gentleman named Pacholsky. He was playing a criminal syndicate list, and his leader that he chose was Shadowlands Daredevil. It was not something I was expecting to play against, but that leadership is actually quite good. So I thought this was going to grind into an attrition list. So I brought a very odd team that's not my normal setup. And we shall see how that goes. His list was Shadowlands Daredevil. It was Mephisto, Shang-Chi, he had 2 more. He had Baron Zemo, and he had another model that I cannot for the life of me think of right now. I think that I dazed them very, very early, and then KO'd them pretty early also, so I don't think they were super relevant. I was playing Amazing Spider-Man, Miles Morales, and Venom, Agent Venom, and Gwenom. I was doing the 3 symbiotes list. And so we were at 20 threat on Scientific Samples and Wedding Party. I don't like Wedding Party very much. It's not good for me, but that's why I went so Venom heavy. This game starts off immediately becoming a grindy attrition fight, which is kind of what I was expecting. I throw Venom, Gwenom, and Miles to my right Wedding Party, and I throw Amazing Spider-Man and and Agent Venom on to my left. Agent Venom and Amazing Spider-Man ended up against Mephisto and Shang-Chi, and the other side was against Shadowlands Daredevil, against Baron Zemo, and against this 5th unknown model that I just, for the life of me, cannot remember. The first 2 rounds, things go fine. Like the dice are normal. We are just hitting each other. The Venom Gwenom pairing is really nasty because at one point he attacked. He was targeting. I think he targeted Miles, and Venom lethal protected, and then Gwenom could hit back with her slap back. So both Venom and Gwenom slap back, and it's a real nice little thing that ended up not really mattering all that much. I think I did some chip damage with it, but it wasn't like a big swing at any point. But then round 3 happened. Round 3, I play all webbed up, and I'm playing under Amazing Spider-Man's leadership, so I'm able to apply slow in places where I didn't all web up. But here's the problem. Something happened to my dice at this point in the day. And my dice become absolutely cursed. At one point, I'm able to daze Shang-Chi with 2 spenders from Agent Venom at this point. And then Mephisto dazes Agent Venom. But that leaves my Amazing Spider-Man fighting against his Mephisto, and his Mephisto has a little bit of damage from the 2 spenders from Agent Venom. Agent Venom's beam attack. So I need to do, I think the amount of damage that I need to do to daze Mephisto and completely claim that side is 4 damage with 2 attacks with an all webbed up and a pretty powered up Amazing Spider-Man. Amazing Spider-Man swings and then attacks with 9 dice. I get 0 hits. And then he swings again with 7 dice, and I get 0 hits. On the other side, I'm swinging with Venom. I'm doing no damage. I'm doing no damage with Gwenom. Miles Morales does a whole lot of nothing. And that carries on for the rest of the game. I don't know what happened. Like at a certain point, and I guess this happens. This is a dice game, and in an attrition fight, when the dice really are important, is when this gets felt the worst. But like, I just got shut out completely after round 3, and this game actually ends 21-13. At one point, he basically kills all of my models, and at one point he has Miles Morales is the last model I have in the game, and he is going to kill him. And we talk it out, and I explain that if he kills him, then the game ends in its current state because I will have been tabled. But if he just ends his turn, he scores all the points on the table, and I score, I think, 1 point. So that's how this game ended. And so 21-13. I am 0 for 3 at this point. So I'm really starting to feel the feel the itch. It's really starting to hurt. So that was my round three. Chance, why don't you tell us about how your round three went? Hopefully better than mine.
Oh, it definitely went better than yours did. So round three, I get paired up against another Jason. There has to be at this point 7 of them at this tournament, based on the amount of names I've heard. But he brought Mystique Brotherhood, um, and again with priority. This time I flip over Mayor Fisk, which is awesome. I love Mayor Fisk. It's so good for Wakanda. We're very good at it. And from his, we flip over Senators again. Um, he picks 16 threat, which is the correct choice. I feel more comfortable at 19, but 16 is still fine with me. However, I'm feeling pretty good going into this. I see his roster, and it has things in it like Hulk, Juggernaut, Colossus, and I have found that people in the current meta are windmill slamming Hulk because he's the best model in the game, which is not necessarily incorrect, but they're not aware of the the fact that there are threats to him out there. I mean, my roster has Mighty Thor, which is an obvious problem, and he did identify that, but he was willing to play around it. I don't think people have, at least in our meta, haven't really internalized how much damage King T really does. He puts out obscene numbers. So round one, we do a little bit of patty cake. We grab each a couple senators, 3 each, and score one of the what are they, Mayor Fisks, and we tie that ball game. It would be 5-5 at that round. Then the next round, I start putting chip damage into Hulk. King T takes a couple turns into him. I think after King T's first activation, he's taken 8 or 9. Mystique patches him up for 5. Then Jane knocks Mystique out and lays into Hulk for another little bit. Meanwhile, on the left-hand side, M'Baku and Okoye are dealing with Juggernaut. Poorly, but they are dealing with him. He's scoring them out, but they're not going down. And all the while, the Mayor Fist points are creeping closer and closer to the center. Turn 3, I still have priority, and I do which is very common for Wakanda. It's something to look out for, but King T will play Wisdom of the Ancients, which it just lets King T count skulls as successes this round. And then he goes off. I think I needed to do 11 or 12 damage to Hulk that round, and King T, I think, did it in. I can't remember if he needed all 3 attacks from the Wakanda Forever, or if I Wakanda Forever and hit someone else. Regardless, Hulk died that round without activating, and then Jane picked up Mystique later on that turn. And from there, it started to snowball out of control to the point where I was ahead and he needed both blues to tie, and all he had left was Juggernaut and Toad. And since I had last activation, I just held Mighty Thor until Juggernaut was going to go onto the points so I could potentially throw him off. Because I thought he was going to do some other stuff. But eventually, I did know I had to activate M'Baku, and he had money for a couple of spenders, and that is a very scary prospect. So instead of waiting for Juggernaut, I just spendered to get the guaranteed throw, and I threw Juggernaut from like the middle-ish of the table back to my deployment zone and stood in front of him so he couldn't slide through me, and he can only walk once because he's holding a senator. And eventually, I score that game out 22-13.
Wow. Okay. Well done. That sounded like you were you know how to deal with the Juggernaut.
Yeah, you leave him be. Kill the important people.
That is an important lesson that I need to learn and remember. All right. Brad, how did your round 3 go?
Okay. Well, unfortunately, I had to play Borka, who I can play and do play every Thursday. Almost every Thursday. He is playing a new list now, though, because he is playing Web Warriors. He got tired of attrition, wanted a change of pace, and I feel pretty good going into Web Warriors. We get Mayor Fisk, which makes me feel even better, and Mutant Extremist, which that sucks. We play at 19. I play 19's one of the 2 points I like against Web Warriors. So I played the same list I would play into Fred. It's Apocalypse, Mr. Sinister, Psylocke, Magic, and Toad. Very heavy on mystic attacks. He plays Miles Morales, Spider Woman, Black Cat, Scarlet Spider, Toad, and Spectacular Spider-Man. The first turn was kind of interesting because it did not go at all the way I expected it to roll out. So a couple things are he double moves Spider-Woman to take my middle senator. So I follow that up with Toad double moving up to take his middle senator. And all that was fine because there were 2 buildings, one on my side and one on his side, in the middle of the table. And so they were like in an alleyway between those 2 buildings, so they couldn't really be seen by anyone. So they just kind of sat there. I moved Sinister up to take a senator. He moved Miles up and made an attack on Sinister that did some damage. And then because he got damaged through, he got to web swing onto the point. Spectacular Spider-Man did the exact same thing and got damaged through, so he got to web swing onto the point, which was a little risky, but it paid off for him. Psylocke moved up, and I think I might have just double moved her onto the point. And then Black Cat moved up onto the point. On the other side, Apocalypse moved up onto the point and got to attack Spider-Woman, dealing her 3 damage, picking up a senator. And then this was a great play. He moved Scarlet Spider up, made an attack, got enough damage through to do his webline thing, which pulls Apocalypse off of the point and puts Scarlet Spider on the point. Magic then moves, teleports onto the point, and smacks Scarlet Spider. But that means we tie that one instead of me winning it, which I expected to win it. And he wins the other one. So I think we ended up 4-4 on this because I had more senators than him. Then the second round, he runs off with Spider-Woman out of the fight. I daze enough of his people. And Apocalypse is actually on the point at the end of this. I think one of the people I daze is Scarlet Spider, who's not holding anything, but keeps him from activating, I believe. And so I go up in points here. I think this ends up 8-5. So he only scores 1 point this round. And then the next round goes really well for me. Somewhere in here he plays all webbed up and just gets almost nothing out of it. Except that my entire team is slowed. But his attacks don't do enough. He dazes one character that turn. But I end up going up to 14 points to his 8, I believe. No, he ends up at 12. So he probably had more than 5 points before. Anyway, at some point it's 14-12. And so if I had got those 2 points at the beginning of the game, I would have won right then. So Scarlet Spider's play at the beginning of the game kept Borka from losing this game a turn early. So we go into the next round, and I need to make sure I end up with more points than him. And this is where the game goes terribly wrong for me. So I go with Apocalypse and either Daze or KM on. I think it was Spider-Woman. I daze Spider-Woman and take her point because she had like moved up back into the fight finally. And then attack Miles. And if I kill Miles here because he's already flipped, it completely changes the turn. But I only do like 3 damage to him. Miles then kills Psylocke before she gets to go. I go with Toad because I have magic. She's got some damage on her. She's flipped. She's got some damage on her. But she's pretty far from the points. So she's maybe kind of safe. And so I go with Toad, and Toad goes and picks up this one center that's laying on the ground. And then he goes with Magic. No, I'm sorry, my Magic. His Black Cat. And Black Cat does her thing where she staggers her. I'm like, okay, that's not great, but that's fine. And then gets the elusive and can get just close enough to still be on the point and make a cat claws and kills Magic.
Oh wow.
And
that's unlikely.
We had at the current point standing, he would gain 6 and I would gain 4, tying the game and going into another round. But if he can keep me from scoring even one more point, he wins. So he goes with Toad and kills my Toad.
Oh no. Toad v. Toad violence.
His Toad dazed my Toad, and then his Toad killed my Toad. And that's the way it goes. Literally, if any of those models live, if Psylocke lived, if Magic lived, if Toad lived, I probably win this game. But he just killed every one of them. Psylocke had no damage on her, and Miles just killed her. It just went so wrong this last round that, once again, would not have happened had he not done that Scarlet Spider move at the beginning of the game. So Borka ends up winning 18-17 for this game. It was very, very
Scarlet
close.
Spider.
Yeah.
The Scarlet Spider is a model that I have neglected.
Yeah,
he's very good.
So cool.
He can displace any size model, which was very relevant.
It's 2 cost, right?
Sorry.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, so he can, any turn of the game, he can just walk, impact webbing, and guaranteed displace.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
That's exactly what he did that first round. And he was barely in to make the attack because of where the building was and stuff. He couldn't move like directly at me. And it just is devastating. Scarlet Spider. He can't move Colossus, of course, but anyone else.
Right. Okay.
So hold on. JP and Brandon played each other in a pretty close to mirror match. They actually played different models because Brandon played Hulk and JP didn't have Hulk in his list. And he played Black Panther, Chosen Assassin, in just a different list. And JP squeaks this one out 21-20. It's a very, very close game. And Borka, of course, won his game. And then Tony lost his game. So.
Okay. All right. So let's move on to round 4. My round 4 opponent was a gentleman named Johnny Blasto. We were playing on
whose real name is Mac.
He's another one of my locals.
Yeah.
We were playing on Cosmic Invasion, and of course, I pick his. Oh no, actually, who had Prio? He had Prio. He picked his extracts, and there was only one of the extracts that he had that was a real poison pill. That one being Montesi Formula. So guess which one I draw? I always draw the poison pill. So we're playing on Montesi Formula and Cosmic Invasion. So I pick 16 threat because I want to. He's playing a Dormammu list, so I want to really squeeze him down, make it so he has to be a very limited team. He plays Dormammu, Nebula. He played, oh gosh, what's his name? Baron Zemo, and there's another 3 that I'm blanking on because I think I dazed them very, very quickly.
Is it Lockjaw?
No, it wasn't Lockjaw.
Okay.
I can't think of him right now, but I was playing Miles. I played Spectacular Spider-Man. Oh, I know who it was. It was Miles.
Yeah.
He was playing Miles. Yep. So because we almost had a Miles mirror match. I was playing Miles, Spectacular, Black Cat, Moon Knight, and a 4th threat. It was Agent Venom. I think that was Agent Venom. No, it was Spider-Woman. I remember. Round 1, I think to myself, well, I need to get that middle point because he did not take the middle point. And I'm able to run Moon Knight up and grab that middle point. A decision which was fine because Moon Knight survived. I then deploy out normally in the first round, but I kind of make a mistake in where I put Spider-Woman because I put her too much in the middle. Because I was kind of thinking to myself, I'm going to have her in position to zap as many people as she can in round 2 and then hop away. Well, at the top of 2, she dazes. She gets shot by Dormammu. And I retreat Moon Knight, and my Spectacular Spider-Man fights his Miles Morales on my left side, and my Miles Morales fights Baron Zemo on the right. I pretty much am trying to hold my own in this attrition fight. I mean, it doesn't need to be an attrition fight, but it being Montesi Formula is real tough for me. And at a certain point, it just swings against me. And I can feel my dice absolutely ice cold again. I end up throwing, I think, 4 or 5 attacks into Baron Zemo, and I never daze him. I never daze Baron Zemo. I'm able to take out Nebula, who was an absolute house, like she's kicking my butt. So I had to remove her, or else she was going to kill everybody. And I never put an attack into Dormammu, because why would I? There's no way I can take him out, and he will only kill me. And that he still manages to only kill me. Dormammu is kind of tricky. I think I probably should have brought a very different list than what I did. And I lose my 4th round game. That puts me at 0-4. I feel really terrible about how I did this tournament. This tournament went about as poorly as any tournament has ever gone for me, and I feel like it is a sign. I want to play something other than Web Warriors. I'm tired. I need to move on to something else because it's clearly not working for me anymore. Okay, all right. Chance. Oh well, actually, Brad, why don't you talk about your 4th round?
Yeah, let's let the loser go first.
The reason why is because everyone who's paying attention will know that Chance is 3-0 right now, and it turns out that his table is the final table. So we will see who wins.
JP
when he discusses that.
JP's also undefeated and plays less in the pair down, and in a very, very close game, Les pulls it out and ends the tournament early. They were tied at 15-15 at one point in this game. So
yeah.
It was a very close game. Brandon, beats Jason, the Brotherhood player, and I'm playing Tony. So we get to the table, and Tony's like, I don't know anything about Apocalypse because Tony's been playing with JP and Brandon, but he's only got limited experience to what JP and Brandon are playing mostly. So we pull my Mayor Fisk and his Montesi, which I'm perfectly fine with. And I have priority, so he gets to pick point level, and he picks 16, which I don't really want. So I go, are you sure? And he waffles a little bit and goes, yeah, I think I'm sure. So we play 16. He plays new Doc Strange as his leader for defenders, Namor, Elsa Bloodstone, and 2-point Black Widow. And I play Apocalypse, Blob, Psylocke, and Magic. This last spot that went to Magic is War. I waffled on a little bit because I almost played Deadpool in this slot. And it turns out Magic was the right choice just because of her ability to teleport. We roll out first turn. Apocalypse ends up on my right, Mayor Fisk, and makes an attack on his Doctor Strange, who had come up to attack Magic and push her off that point. So Magic was in the middle of nowhere. But I got to smack him once with Apocalypse. On the other flank, I move up Blob. Oh, Psylocke grabbed the middle point. I had given him a chance to. No, I didn't. I went first. So I just went up and grabbed that immediately. Blob got on the other point. He ends up putting Namor over there and Elsa over there. I can't remember if Namor made an attack this turn. I don't think he did. I think he moved him up, and he was outside of 2 to attack Psylocke, and then he just moved him over to the point. I think that's all that happened. So he wins that point. I win my point. He has 1 Montesi. I have 2 Montesis. One of them's on Apocalypse. And that's the first turn. And then the second turn, I have priority. So I just smack Doctor Strange twice and take him out. Oh, and he played portals this turn. So he put a portal over by Strange, which isn't close enough to the point, the Mayor Fisk. And he keeps putting the Mayor Fisk down exactly where it is to do a damage to Apocalypse. The other one was... how did we end up... I feel like we ended up tying that one for some reason. The Montesi he has is on Black Widow, who I think first turn double moved and isn't on the point. She's just kind of hanging out nearby. But I don't remember what happened with the other Mayor Fisk. Anyway, I daze Doc Strange. I don't think he was expecting that. And then there's a big fight on the other Montesi. Not Montesi, on the Mayor Fisk. And one of the weird things Tony did is he never moved Black Widow up to that point. He just stayed close enough that I could be like on the point and within range 2 of her to smack her. And just did pistol shots the whole game. And I thought that was a very weird move. But we fight on that point. I think I ended up putting Psylocke, and then the big thing is I teleport with Magic. I move Magic, use his own portal to go to that point, because the other portal was on the point. And so I think this is the round I just end up with 3 models to his 2 on that point, but everyone's still pretty okay. And so I win both mares, and he stole Psylocke's Montesi. So I think he got 2 Montesis to my 1 this time, but that's fine. And then a big Days Fest happens on that flank in this round. He played the card that you can not get pushed if you take a damage on, I think, Namor and Elsa. And Elsa...
Street Smarts.
What?
Street Smarts.
Street Smarts. And he kept attacking Blob with Elsa, and I kept using the damage reduction and saying, do you allow yourself to get pushed, or do you take a damage? And he just kept taking damage on her, which made her super easy to daze. Because he wanted to stay on the point. He shouldn't have been attacking Blob. I think he ended up dazing him this round, but it was just so funny. He just kept taking damage. So I think this round maybe like I daze Black Widow and take her point, and daze Elsa, and then I've got 2 healthy models to his 1 healthy Namor, and so I score both Mayor Fisk. Oh, I also killed Doctor Strange on turn 3. First activation turn 3. He made 1 attack with Doc Strange the whole game.
Oh no! Oh no!
I just killed him. Because he's like, I don't know what Apocalypse does. And after I killed Doc Strange, I was like, that's what Apocalypse does. He kills a model pretty easily.
Yep.
And so I score both Mayor Fisks again. I score 2 of the Montesis. Pretty in control of the game. I know we play at least 1 more round because I killed Black Widow. I don't think I killed Elsa. I only ever did 1 damage to Namor, and I think that was from him choosing not to get pushed. Apocalypse scores 3 points the whole game. I scored the Mayor Fisk, the other Mayor Fisk, like 3 out of 4 times. I most of the time score 2 out of 3 of the Montesis. So like pretty in control of the game, and that's partially him not knowing what my guys did. And so I end up winning this game 20-6. Like,
Oh.
I just score a bunch of points over the game. And he kept putting the Montesis down where they were. And so, like, my guys were taking damage, but so was Elsa and Namor. Oh, that's the damage
You mean
Namor
the Mayor
took.
Fisk?
Yeah, the Mayor Fisk. Sorry.
Okay.
That's the damage Namor took. The only damage he took all game was from a Mayor Fisk. So, yeah.
All right. Well,
So I win that game, and unfortunately Tony loses. Tony does go 1-3, which is pretty good. I go 2-2.
mm-hmm.
Borka goes 2-2. JP goes 3-1. Brandon Akers goes 3-1.
And Fred goes 0-4.
And now it's Chance's turn.
Yeah, Chance, tell us about the final table of the game. How does this go?
I was pretty happy with it lining up. So my final opponent was Dean, which I believe you played in round 2, Brad. Is what you said?
I played him round 1.
You played in round 1. Okay, sorry,
Yeah.
I have my wires crossed. He's playing Avengers. Steve won. I'm always happy when I see Avengers, because even more than your average Hulk player, do they over rely on Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
So it also became very apparent to me that Dean has not played a lot of Wakanda. He played a very aggressive Hulk without very much thought for Hulk's safety. So we are playing on Skrull's wedding party. We play on 20 threat. I get to bring Okoye, M'Baku, King T, Shang-Chi, Jane Foster as my 20. And he brings Black Widow, Captain America Falcon, Hulk, and Angela as his splash. On Wedding Party, for some games, I just like to refuse a flank. I mostly did that. I deployed everyone on my left flank besides M'Baku. I had M'Baku go square up with Angela on the other side, which felt great to me because I think most of what Angela's benefit is from fighting multiple models at once. And if she's fighting one, she doesn't get a whole lot of value. So I just had M'Baku over there dirtling on the far right Wedding Party just to prevent him from scoring it out, while I tried and undid the knot that was Steve, Black Widow, and eventually Hulk came over and joined the fight there. Round one, I think we're going pretty even. I know I had a decent amount of more points than him because he only had one senator. Round one, I send Jane to the center to pick up that senator and keep her in the middle, get her in range to charge turn 2, so she's hanging around the middle left side. He does not. He goes for the far right one that M'Baku was contesting, and then I go with Shang and I pick up the one that is opposed by Black Widow, Steve, and then Hulk's in the middle and he can reasonably get there. I was worried that Hulk was going to walk and throw a size 3 into him, considering I didn't have money for brace, but that did not happen. And eventually a skirmish starts to form over there and Hulk moves up. King T gets to make one attack into him, take a couple damage off of him. Then going into round 2, we start with me still in priority. I have Jane lay into Hulk, throw Hulk around a bit, burn brace early, put another couple points of damage onto him. I think he's at like 9 damage on him at the end of Jane's turn. Then he goes with Hulk as his next activation, which typically you want Hulk to go last, but I think it's still correct since King T is hovering there. However, he makes a weird play where he uses Hulk Spender into one of the models, which I bodyguard onto Okoye, and then he throws Okoye into the model that I just bodyguarded for after seeing that she wasn't going to daze on dice due to a particularly good block roll. I would have much rather had him just toss her away so she can't take another hit for someone. But such is life. That's what happened, and I took advantage of it there. Then, after Hulk's activation, seeing the opportunity and having blood in the water, I play Wisdom of the Ancients. I have King T jump into range with Bound and start dropping builders on him, and I end up killing Hulk from 8 or 9 points without even having to spend Wakanda Forever. So at the second activation of round 2, I've taken Hulk off the table, and at this point, I feel amazing. I feel like nothing in the world could go wrong here, and luckily I'm not strucken down for my hubris. And things continue to play out. Angela has a turn. She goes into M'Baku, does a couple damage, but not enough to daze him. He then turns that power over onto Sam, who had wandered over to help. I spender Sam and then bonk him until he falls unconscious, and I take the scroll that was from that side. I believe did Sam have it? That's right. Scroll. There's 4 scrolls. Sam had his middle scroll. That's what happened. So I took Sam's scroll, and I rotated a little bit towards the center. And after everything moved, the top of 3, I just had M'Baku leave that far right flank and move over to join the rest of my people on the left, knowing that most of the points were over there since Steve also had picked up a scroll. He had taken the one that Shang had, but most of the scrolls were on the left-hand side at that point. And it just became a ever-compounding snowball in my favor, where he had to spend move actions to get to where most of the points were because of the refused flank that had gone in my favor. And I have a very high offensive output on 3 models, 4 because Shang's here. And as he comes into the meat grinder, I just continue to paste him. I think that it went very. If anything could have gone my way that game, it did. I felt a little bit bad for Dean towards the end of it. There was some unlucky rolls on like Angela's part and such, but it ended 23-5.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That's a margin of victory.
it was bad.
Okay.
Yes.
And that puts you as the first winner of the Appalachian Cup 2025. Congratulations, Chance.
Thank you.
Well done. I know that a couple other people participated, and I want to give a special shout out. Dom was there. Dom is a friend from the Baltimore area who is also a listener. Hi, Dom. He was playing Convocation, and I think that this was his first time playing them, and he got a few wins. So congratulations, Dom. Well done. He is someone who previously was playing Sentinels, and he was just tired of playing Sentinels, which I don't blame him. Yeah. He's holding off until next year when they hopefully catch a buff. And a big thank you to Bryce.
They are confirmed catching a buff.
If any model needed it, dear God, the Sentinel Prime or Sentinel Mark IV. Sentinel Prime's fine.
Right. Yes. Yeah. And a special thanks to Bryce for running the event. At one point, someone dropped, and I was certain that I would be the one who gets the bye, but Bryce dropped as well just to keep it an even number. So big thank you to Bryce for being a classy tournament organizer. Okay. Steven, we've been talking a while. Do you have one game that you want to talk about before we move past this segment?
I have not gotten any games in. I'm in a Chance. You think you're in a desert? I'm in a desert down here, so I have to. If I do play games, I drive 2 hours to Columbia, South Carolina, to play up there on Saturdays. But that's a hit or miss. So,
dear,
that's
a lot.
Yeah, that's quite the journey to have to make for the weekly gaming session.
Yeah, so I usually combine it with seeing my nieces and nephews and visiting a couple of old friends up there because I used to live in South Carolina before. So, but needless to say, I do a lot of theory crafting and a lot of painting in the meantime. So,
all right. Okay, well, we've talked quite a bit about games we've played recently. I think that it is time to talk about the person that we are here to talk about today. That person being Lady Mastermind, and this is becoming it's becoming quite a theme with me that I have moved away from Lady Mastermind in my Cerebro while we were talking about the games we played. So of course I don't have her up. Okay, Lady Mastermind, otherwise known as Reagan Wingard. Her defensive stats are 3, 3, and 4. She has 6 stamina on her front and only 5 on her back. She's a threat value of 4, a size of 2, and a movement speed of medium. Do we know if she's on a small base or a medium base?
Looks like a small base. Yeah, it looks like a small base.
And her only affiliation is the Brotherhood of Mutants, or the only one that we know of.
Yes,
the only one we
accurate.
know. Okay, all right. Brad, why don't you cover her attacks?
All right, her first attack is a mystic attack, Deadly Illusions. It's range 5, 5 dice, cost 0. It gains her 1 power. It can only ever deal 1 damage. It has a rule called Mind Over Matter. Before damage is dealt, this character can remove 2 special conditions from the target character. If it does, the defending character suffers 2 damage. So it can do 1 or it can do 3. It cannot do anything in between or anything more. And it has wild. Fred,
sorry, keep going.
Did you?
I was going to ask, if they only have 1 special condition,
then you
could
can
it do 2?
Nothing. Nope.
Oh, okay. Nope.
It doesn't.
All right.
It doesn't say up to 2 and take a damage for each 1 removed, which is how that would be worded. It's remove 2, deal 2. Psychosomatic effects. After the attack is resolved, for each wild in the attack roll, the target character gains one of the following special conditions: bleed, poison, shock, or incinerate, which is a great suite of conditions.
And if she gets multiple wilds, that's multiple status effects.
Yeah, yeah. I have a feeling incinerate and shock are going to be the two go-tos, but her next
Important timing is that happens after her mind over matter, by the way.
Yes, yeah. So, her next one's Mystic, Mass Hallucinations. It is Area 2, 6 dice. It costs 4 and has Wild Puppeteer. After attack is resolved, this character may advance the target character short.
Okay. I hadn't given Chance the heads up that I was going to ask this. Chance, do you happen to have this character open?
I do.
Do you mind reading the next superpower?
Oh yeah, yep. This one's awesome. It's called Your Reality is Whatever I Want It to Be. It's an X cost. This character may spend any amount of power to use this superpower. Choose an enemy character within 5 of this character with a defense or a mystic defense equal to or less than the amount of power spent to use this superpower. When this character may make an attack targeting a different enemy character with a range, power, or damage and type equal to one of the chosen character's attacks with a power cost of 0. Range and line of sight are measured from the chosen enemy character instead of Lady Mastermind during this attack. The superpower can only be used once per turn.
Yeah, that is very cool. Steven, do you mind finishing out the card?
Sure. We have 3 and 8 superpowers. The first one is called Brain Fog. During this character's activation, enemy characters cannot use reactive superpowers or reactive team tactics cards. We also have Mental Lock. When an enemy character targets this character with an attack, it may use its Mystic defense regardless of the attack type unless the attacking character pays 2 power. And then try a little harder next time. When an enemy character within 3 of this character rolls 1 or more skull results in any roll, after the effect is resolved, this character gains 1 power.
Okay, so that is the character card for Lady Mastermind. First thoughts. I think there's a lot of really interesting stuff on this card. And Stephen rightly pointing out that the mind over matter trigger happens before the psychosomatic effects trigger on her builder means, or I guess on her gainer, means that she can pull 2 things off and immediately put them on again, and then do the attack again if that was the first attack of her activation, and do another guaranteed 2 if she managed to get 2 wilds in the first attack.
I'd like to point something out about that guaranteed 2 damage and that 1 damage. They are separate instances of damage, so people that can pay to reduce, like Kingpin, Juggernaut, so on and so forth.
But they can't pay to reduce. They're not allowed to.
Oh,
yeah, they're not allowed to.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Okay, that's where I got stumbled up. Okay, excellent.
Like would Rhino, like a person who innately reduces would only take 1 damage from 2 getting pulled off of him, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, he would take 1 and then 1 again.
Okay. But still, I think that's really cool. I think that's a really cool effect. Okay, what are your first thoughts about this Chance? I'm gonna let you take a swing first because you're the guest.
Sure. So I think I'm always super optimistic about new models, but I think she's awesome. So she's not as self-sufficient as I first thought, with the point out that the mind over matter is before the psychosis trigger, but there's plenty of affiliated models that give out conditions. We just saw Avalanche Pyro's Firewall does it per power with no dice involved. And then if you run, if you get a little bit lucky, you put a wild on them and get the conditions back. It is 2 wild, so it's not super likely, but you're looking at 2 guaranteed 3 damage, or more than likely it's going to be she does 4 guaranteed damage at range 5. And then she also has her superpower, and if there's a single model on the enemy team with 3 Mystic defense, she gets to start planting her feet and doing 3 attacks a turn, one of them potentially being really scary. Notable people are Hulk. He's got 3 Mystic defense, so she uses all her power she normally gets for planting her feet in a turn. That's a 7-die attack coming out of Hulk. There's other ones that are pretty scary. The funniest one, in my opinion, is Bob. I think you can use his rocket for 2 power.
Yes.
It's ridiculously funny. And then additionally, she's in an affiliation that has power generation, so she can use Magneto's stuff to get over the hurdle. She looks like a lot of fun. You might as well take White out and just put that over top her spender. She's not using it. That's not important. But I am excited. I think she will be super cool and useful.
Yeah, I didn't even think about Bob.
Yeah,
That is
the important thing about that superpower is it ignores all special rules. It just takes range, dice, and type. So it doesn't matter if Bob has a token or not.
Mm-hmm.
She can shoot his rocket. It will not daze Bob, which is sad.
Right.
But
It won't do all the cool stuff.
she can't gain power.
I don't know, 9 dice for 2 power is pretty cool.
Yeah, no, that's enough.
Well, yeah, right.
Yeah, that's enough.
And it also Bob's rocket's range 4, so it's max range is range 5 small base plus range 4.
Yes.
God, it's so far.
Yeah.
But that is Magical Christmas Land. You probably just don't play Bob if you see this person in their list.
We have a player locally who plays Bob a lot, and I told him I'm going to shoot Bob's rocket when she comes out. I will do it. Yeah, she can't gain power off this. Nothing like that. It's just rolling dice.
Right. Steven, what are your thoughts here on this model?
Welcome to Hydra.
with Strucker and all of the conditions.
Yeah, I like her for my Hydra list. I like her for my Spider Foes list. Yeah, she's. I don't know. I'm always looking at characters to find out, where they can go and where they can flourish. I know they don't give a lot of power, but Hydra with giving out conditions would make her very, very good. I could see her in an Apocalypse list also if you're running Pestilence, right?
Yeah, the only problem with Apocalypse is she does, as far as we know, she does not get a Horseman ability, so it's really hard to splash non-Horseman in that list.
Right. No, I understand that. So, but her upside's very, very promising, but she might be one of those characters where when you put her on the table, it's not quite what you expected. You're still going to be satisfied with the results, but maybe not the tippy top that you were expecting.
I mean, range 5 on all of her effects is not on her spender, but on the relevant stuff is quite the ability to reach out and touch somebody. That is, I think that she's going to be very present on the table no matter where she is. Just how she plays out. Brad, what are your thoughts here on Lady Mastermind?
Just some things that nobody's talked about yet, and then where I want to play her. Her randomly gain some power for your opponent's Rolling Skulls is just all upside. This is the third model in the game that you can't react to, which is great.
They're all Brotherhood.
They are all Brotherhood, and she's got a pretty good chance of being Hellfire Club, which is where I am excited for her. And then I would splash Mystique in there because I do anyway. And I think that would be fun. Brotherhood's fine too. And the thing I really want to talk about, Mental Lock. So normally when you roll your Mystic Defense and they have to pay 2 to ignore it, that is a very big change in their number of dice, and people are very incentivized to do it. For her, it changes her dice by 1. So no one's ever gonna do this, and she just has 4/4/4 defense.
Right. Her defensive line might as well read 4, 4, and 4.
Yeah, which is so good. I love that. You could pay 2 to get 1 to give your opponent effectively.
There's a couple people. I mean, Mystique doesn't spend power on anything.
Right. Yeah, but with rapid fire, she's going to run out of power really quick if she's doing that.
Yeah, she'll be fine. Some models might pay 2 power for
Might, yeah. But
to
to give her a one-time incinerate, it's just really funny. It's very rarely going to come up. She's just going to get to roll 4 defense, which I love. And that your reality power, it's such a cool power. I remember them talking about how they tried to, with design Rogue, they tried to come up with a way for her to use someone else's superpower or attack, and they just couldn't find a balanced way to do it. And I'm not saying that this is balanced, because it not being an action might be too good, but
yeah,
this is a cool way to do what they were trying to do with Rogue.
It's just dice. I don't know if it's that bad.
Yeah,
it could be
certainly
a
good.
bunch of dice.
It
could be real good.
It's
right.
It's a 3rd attack.
Yeah,
which is always pretty good.
Yeah,
it's why her gainer only does 1 damage. Because if she could do regular damage and then do this,
it's probably also another reason why she has a gainer, so that it's a lot easier to play around as the opponent.
Yeah.
You know that if you're not messing with Lady Mastermind, the best she can do is grab one of your 3 Mystic Defense models.
Right. Yeah. She can't go for someone with a higher defense.
Mm-hmm.
I think she's
Okay.
really neat. I think this design is really cool and shows how creative they are still being with these models.
I agree. I think there's still design space for them to surprise us with. Okay, so there is a tactics card that is associated with Lady Mastermind that we need to go over. Excuse me, just a second.
Yeah, I apologize. While you move to that, I do have to slip out. I've got somewhere else I need to get going towards. But thanks for having me on, guys. I appreciate it.
Thanks for joining us, Chance.
Yes. You're a great
you
guest.
so much.
Yep. You guys have a good one.
You too.
I had a tickle in my throat at the worst possible time. Sorry about that. Okay, so let's talk about the tactics card Mirage. It is an unaffiliated reactive tactics card. When an enemy character attacks an allied character within range 3 of an allied Lady Mastermind, during the Modify Dice step, Lady Mastermind may pay 2 power to play this card. For each skull in the attack roll, Lady Mastermind may change 1 result in the attack roll to a blank. For each dice result changed in this way, the enemy character loses 1 power. Then, after the attack is resolved, if 1 or more dice results were changed, the defending character may advance short. I think this card is pretty awesome. I think this card is pretty excellent. I'm thinking also about pairing it with this. This might be me setting up Rube Goldberg machines, but pairing this with the Grand Illusion would be incredible, because that turns everyone's crits into skulls.
I told you, fighter folks.
Yeah. This effect is pretty daggone solid. If you know that there's an attack that's coming in to a friend that's going to be real big, and you really need them to survive.
It's better than that, Fred. You play it during the modified dice step, so you've already seen what they roll.
Oh, you're right. You're right. It's better than I even said. So you know that they've got some skulls in there for you to mirage out. So I think that this is a card that is probably stapled to this model. I don't know why you would bring this model and not bring this card.
Well, Fred, let me tell you why.
Oh, okay.
Brotherhood
Tell me why.
has some really good cards, including Pyro's card that lets you make the enemy drop their objective tokens. Uh, Asteroid M that lets you transport your model across the table. Um, it's getting harder and harder to fit cards in your 5. This is a great card though.
Yeah, yeah.
If she's Hellfire Club, you absolutely bring this with her in Hellfire Club.
Yes,
It's a
absolutely.
lot of fun. I also like the flavor of this with the moving the character. It's that character was at that other place the whole time, and the opponent's character just attacked a mirage. I love that. I love that little detail that they just
That's
attacked
fun.
where the character wasn't.
Steven, what do you think about this card?
It does have its uses, but like Brad said, it's getting really, really tight. I mean, normally you have your 2 restricteds, then you have your affiliation cards, and then you have other personal cards that might be better than this. Juggernauts, Do You Know Who I Am comes to mind.
That's a good one.
Because so unless it gets to that point where you're just taking those personal cards on each model, it's like, okay, I'm playing these 5 models, they have 5 personal cards. This is in the 10, but does it make a 5? I don't know.
That's fair. That's fair.
It's just really hard in Brotherhood. Other places it might, like if you're splashing her, if she's affiliated elsewhere, you might be taking it.
Okay. All right. So we need to give a letter grade to Lady Mastermind. So I think when I first read her, I don't think I fully understood just how good her active superpower is. Your reality bends to me. I think that she is pretty outstanding. She is a 4-threat model, and she does probably have a little bit more limited of an attack suite, because her one attack that you would be using can only do 1 or 3 damage. But I still think that she's pretty dang solid. I'm gonna give her an A minus. I'm giving her an A minus. Steven, what do you think about Lady Mastermind?
I think 3 attacks a turn is good, especially when one of them's not yours.
Yeah.
So, you can't deny that. So, I guess I'm at a B plus. So,
okay, all right. And Brad, what do you think about Lady Mastermind?
I guess I'm gonna be the conservative one of the group and give her a B. I think she's pretty solid, but that extra attack may not be one of much value. Like sometimes it's just going to be a 5-die attack, range 2 from the
maybe
model.
most of the time.
Yeah. Like if you're going, let's take X-23. You pay 2 power, you do a 5-die attack within range 2 of X-23. Like that's good. It's a 3rd attack, but it's not like outstanding. And you're really relying on that superpower to do work, because she doesn't got much else for damage dealing. She's got cool stuff, but she's not the damage dealer.
Yeah, that is very true. Okay. So that is our take on Lady Mastermind. Hey, Brad, do you have any comic book recommendations that feature Lady Mastermind, specifically Reagan?
Yeah, Reagan is Lady Mastermind. She does have a sister. Her name is Martinique. She just goes by Mastermind. And their father is Mastermind, which I expected to see him before I ever expected to see one of his daughters, because he's in classic comics and they're pretty new characters. I'm doing something different for her. So she's only in 52 comics, period, ever. Which, may sound like a lot if you don't know how many comics come out, which is a lot of comics. There may be 52 Marvel comics a month that come out. So,
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Okay, so she's not in much.
She's not in much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you everything out of those 52 comics that's worth reading. And it turns out that's only 4 stories. So a little more than normal, but this is literally everything that you should read. So the first thing is Extreme X-Men 6 through 9, by Chris Claremont and Salvador Larroca. And this is her first appearance. And Lady Mastermind is the pawn of Sebastian Shaw, the leader of the Hellfire Club. And his plan includes assassinating some guy, and that will convince Sage to work for Shaw again. I don't know how. His plan doesn't make a lot of sense, but this is a fun, action-packed comic with mediocre art, if I'm being honest. I don't like Salvador Larroca. But I do like Chris Claremont. Great writer. The next one is X-Men 188 through 204. And then there's, at the tail end of that and a little bit past that, is the crossover Messiah Complex, which is one of my favorite crossovers of all time. This is by Mike Carey and Chris Bachalo. A great writer and a great artist coming together. This is one of my favorite runs of comics, Mike Carey's run of X-Men. And in this story, Rogue is given her own team of X-Men. She gets to pick her members. So here's who she picks. Cable, Iceman, Cannonball. We're off to a great start, right? Mystique.
Yeah.
Sabretooth, the Omega Sentinel, and Lady Mastermind.
Hold on. She takes a Sentinel. Oh, wait, is this the Sentinel that's somehow on the good guy side?
Yeah, this is Karima. She has been infected with Sentinel nanites that make her an Omega Sentinel. But she has overridden her programming, and it turns out that she herself has no problem with mutants, and now that she's a Sentinel that wants to hunt them, she's like, maybe I should help them instead. So, but I just want to repeat, Mystique, Sabretooth, a Sentinel, and Lady Mastermind. This team is a hot mess. It is so chaotic, and of course, some of those people turn on the X-Men. I'll just tell you. Lady Mastermind gives Omega Sentinel a computer virus and tells the bad guys where the X-Men base is. In a very funny scene. Yeah, this comic is so much fun. It's so well written. The art is so good. Like, this is the number one. You should read this. And I'm not the only one that would say that. Uh-oh.
Okay.
Next is Uncanny X-Men 508 through 511. This is the Sisterhood arc. This is by Matt Faction and Greg Land. There is a Sisterhood of Mutants, led by the clone of Jean Grey. that turns out to be just a Jean Grey from a different universe, not the clone of Jean Grey. She is pretending to be the clone of Jean Grey. It's very confusing. They're causing a bunch of chaos. They have this big plan. Both of the lady masterminds are on this team. This arc is actually god awful. It's so bad, but in a way that's really fun. Like, there's a scene where one of the lady masterminds said, "Oh my God, it's the stupid X-Men," and Storm pops out of nowhere and goes, "The stupid what?" It is so funny.
It's so bad, it's good.
Yeah, it's like watching a bad, funny movie. Like, Surf Nazis Must Die. Have you ever seen that movie, Fred?
No, I've never seen that movie.
It is such a good movie. It's about these surf Nazis that kill this guy, and his mom gets all these guns and goes on a rampage killing the surf Nazis. It's so bad, and it's so good at the same time. So that's what this comic is like. And then the final comic that I have is Pixie Strikes Back. This is by Catherine Eminem and Sarah Pichelli, who both good writer, good artist. In this comic, Pixie, who is an X-Men who has wings and has the additional mutant power of a hallucinogenic dust that her wings produce. She also got kidnapped to Limbo by Magic, and Magic was trying to sacrifice her so that Magic could get her soul back. And so Pixie lost a portion of her soul and got a soul dagger, kind of like Magic's soul sword, but she lost less of her soul, so she got a smaller one. She only lost one fifth instead of, I think, 3/5 of her soul that Ileana lost. So she just got a little dagger instead of a sword, which is very funny. Anyway, Pixie finds out her dad's mastermind. So the ladies' mastermind are her half-sisters. So they all go on a quest. Pixie also finds out her mom is an actual fairy.
Okay.
So she is both a mutant and an actual fairy. Pixie is. This comic is a lot of fun. It is wild. It's Pixie hanging out with her half sisters who she hates. And it's just a good time. Reagan appears in some other various comics. She's not really that important in any of them. Like, there's one run where she's just on the team but isn't actually doing much. So, on, like, the bad guy team that they're fighting, she doesn't do much, and it's not really worth reading. But those are the stories, like, where she's highlighted and she's great, and she's not taken very seriously in most of these, which is good. It's good.
Yeah. Okay. So there are two mastermind children, like,
Yeah.
that are both named Mastermind.
Yeah. So there's Mastermind.
Why?
Jason Wingard, Mastermind, who was on the Brotherhood. He was a member of Hellfire Club, like, kind of a big deal in comics. And then at the same time, two different writers came up with the idea of him having a daughter who took over the legacy, and nobody's telling Chris Claremont no. So they just both created daughters. One took the Mastermind name, one took the Lady Mastermind name, and then they just made it work later. Like, Reagan hates Martinique. I mean, they work together a lot, but they bicker. Because Martinique is a little bit older. They have different moms. got her powers earlier and took the name Mastermind before Reagan could, which is why she is Lady Mastermind.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah. But they fight like every time they're in the same room. But they also are in the same room a lot. So it's fun.
Oh boy. Okay. All right. Thank you, Brad, for talking to us about the Lady Mastermind comics. I think the only thing that's left for our show today is for my non sequitur recommendation. Today, I have no idea. Like, has she ever been portrayed in anything? Has she ever been in a show? I don't think. I may be wrong.
She might have been in Wolverine and the X-Men, maybe. I
Oh,
like
okay.
vaguely remember her being in it, maybe.
Okay, well, what I'm bringing today is completely unrelated. I guess there are strong, intelligent female characters in this.
And Reagan isn't one of them.
uh, oh crap! You know what? I'm changing it right now. I'm changing it right now because I'm going to talk about a different Reagan. Her name. I'm talking about the movie The Exorcist. You know what? I want to go watch that right now. That is everyone out there, go watch the movie The Exorcist. That is an excellent movie from the late 70s that is still really terrifying. It's a really scary movie and one that I find very effective. And I haven't watched it in a couple years, so I think that is something that I'm going. And the main character, or the person who is possessed by a demon, her name is also Reagan. So I'm going to go watch that right now. I hope the rest of you have a wonderful rest of your evening, and everyone out there, enjoy the rest of your week. Goodbye, everybody.